Today we are going to North America. No, not just you, all of North America. From Canada to the Caribbean and from Panama to the USA, I'll be building the tallest building from every single North American country. So without further ado, let's get building. We start off this list in Grenada with a 22-meter tall ministerial complex in its capital, St. George's. This is obviously not a very tall building, which is not surprising as it's also just a very small island about 100 miles north of the South American mainland. Little fun fact, despite its size, Grenada produces over 40% of the world's supply of nutmeg. Next up we have the National Insurance Building in St. Lucia at 25 meters tall. This building really isn't anything too spectacular, but I mean, what do you expect for a local insurance office? It's fine for what it is. Then we go to St. Kitts and Nevis for the St. George's Anglican Church. This current church was built in 1844 after previous versions had been destroyed by fires, earthquakes, and hurricanes. Since 1989, the church has been damaged by a series of hurricanes again, but it has since been restored to its former glory. It's one of the smallest but also definitely one of the prettiest buildings on this list. We find Dominica with a 26-meter tall financial house. It's an office building for the Ministry of Finance in the country's capital, Rosso. I think it looks kind of interesting. We then go to Antigua and Barbuda for the 31-meter tall Sandals Grand Antigua. This is the main building of a resort hotel on one of the most beautiful beaches of the island. This was actually quite a fun one to build, with all the balconies and different angles and colors throughout the build. And of course, the lavish gardens around the building really help bring it to life. We find St. Vincent and the Grenadines with the 33-meter tall St. George's Anglican Cathedral, not to be confused with the Anglican church we saw a few places back. I think its design is a little more boring than the other one, especially the front of the church, which is all very straightforward, with the more intricate brickwork only reserved for the very back portion of the structure. Then a very special building spot, it's the 43-meter tall Caiana or Sky Palace, part of the Caracol archaeological site in Belize. This is by far the oldest building on this list, with construction thought to have started around 400 AD, and the tallest structures at the top of this pyramid were built in the 7th and 8th centuries. It has therefore been Belize's tallest building for well over 1,300 years now, and I think it might very well be the oldest building anywhere in the world that still is its country's tallest. Next up is Haiti with the Del Toro building. This is a very simple office building that stands at 49 meters tall, honestly not much more going on than that. We then find the Tom Adams Financial Center in Barbados at number 15. This 50-meter tall building is a bit more interesting, with 12 big pillars carrying the building's floors and beautiful gardens surrounding the whole structure. Off to Jamaica then, for the 60-meter tall Pegasus Hotel Tower. It's honestly a surprisingly boring-looking tower for a country as colorful as Jamaica. And an even more boring tower at number 13, it's the Banpro de America in Nicaragua. Just a very plain office tower. For number 12, we go to a much more iconic building, the Atlantis Paradise Island in the Bahamas, specifically the Royal Tower, which is the tallest and by far the biggest in the resort. It's probably one of the most clickbait hotels in the world, surrounded by one of the world's biggest water parks. I'm not going to be building that today, but it's a water park where you have one of those water slides that goes through an actual shark tank, and honestly, it looks awesome. So does this building, with the iconic bridge in the middle and the many balconies and little towers, it's just the embodiment of paradise. All these buildings being at different angles made it quite interesting to build with a lot of measurement and calculation, but that's something I always kind of like doing. Maybe a good time to mention that this is actually not the first continent I'm building the tallest buildings of, as there's a two-part video for Europe as well. So if you haven't watched those yet and you made it this far into this video, it's probably worth checking out. And of course, there are other continents coming soon, so if there's any continent or specific building you want me to do first, make sure to let me know in the comments. If you want to check out these maps for yourself, that's also possible, as I finally have a Patreon now where you can download this map as well as all my other maps. Big shout out to my first Patreon, Vivid KJ, I think that's how you're supposed to pronounce it, but it really means a lot. Anyway, back to the build. Here we're building some of the marine habitats in front of the hotel tower. These run all throughout the resort and house rescue dolphins, sea lions, manatees, as well as sharks, crocodiles, and thousands of tropical fish. And then of course, we add the whole jungle of greenery and palm trees to really tie this whole area together. Next up is Guatemala with the Torre Premier Club, finally taking us over the 100-meter mark at 101 meters tall. It's a residential tower in Guatemala City, and it's just fine for what it is. We then go to Trinidad and Tobago for the 114-meter tall International Waterfront Tower C, part of a small tower complex. These towers were supposed to be the first in a larger financial center for the country, but that plan never really materialized, and the towers are now mostly used for government offices. We find Honduras with the Torres Metropolis Business Center. At the bottom is this absolutely massive parking garage, which kind of serves as a pedestal for the rest of the tower. I kind of like the design of this tower with the alternating blocks. It's really simple but quite effective too. We then have the Torre Millennium in El Salvador at 125 meters tall, a mixed-use tower with a sky deck at the top serving as a touristic attraction for the city of San Salvador. Next up spot is Costa Rica with the Lomé Business Center. Opened in 2021, this 141-meter tall skyscraper houses a shopping mall at its base, a Hilton hotel, offices, and 6 of the country's most expensive apartments that each cover an entire floor toward the top of the building. It's a good-looking tower. We go to Cuba, where we find the Torre López Collejos, also known as the K Tower. At 154 meters tall, this tower faced, and honestly still faces, quite some difficulties, with Cuba currently in a massive financial crisis. The tower struggled greatly to even be finished at all. While being topped out right now, it still looks like a building site today, but I decided to build it the way it's supposed to look when finished. We find the Torre Anacaona 27 in the Dominican Republic. Finished in 2017, this 180-meter tall tower is home to 52 ultra-luxurious apartments ranging from $2 million to $15 million for the penthouse. It is by far the most luxurious residential building in the country, featuring basketball courts, a cinema, spa, business center, and pretty much anything else the residents might want or need. We then go to Panama for what is probably the most complicated build on this list, and probably also the largest in volume. It's the JW Marriott in Panama City, and it comes with a massive jump in height, taking us right past the 200-meter mark and almost up to the 300-meter mark at 284 meters tall. I was lucky the majority of this building was symmetrical from left to right, so I only had to build one half and then mirror it. During the development of this tower, Donald Trump actually falsely claimed that the Trump Organization had a financial stake in the project and that it was acting as the developer, neither of which was true. The actual developer did, however, later license the Trump name to make it the first international Trump-branded property to open. For many years the tower was known as the Trump Ocean Club International, until 2018, when it was officially renamed the JW Marriott Panama. Now we start getting to what I found to be the most complicated part of this build, the inner walls of the round shape that has external stairways all the way from the top to the bottom of the building. This was really tricky, as of course the whole thing is at an angle in the first place, but then also slopes differently along the height of the building. It was quite the challenge to get the shape of these stairs in properly, but in the end, I think I managed quite all right. It's the type of shape that's not very typical in Minecraft, and that's automatically what makes it look so good, at least to me. Then we start finishing up this main tower and move to some of the rooftops where we find some pools, bars, greenery, and all that good stuff, some beautiful gardens, and then it's just some last little details to clean up before we finally finish this absolutely massive building. We go to Canada for the first Canadian place. Just shy of 300 meters, this 298-meter tall skyscraper sits in the heart of Toronto's financial district. It was constructed in 1975 and was the tallest building anywhere outside of New York or Chicago when it opened. It has since been surpassed by close to 100 other buildings, dropping from 6th to 1,003rd tallest in the world, but that makes it no less impressive. The entire thing was clad in beautiful white Carrara marble, with over 45,000 panels weighing over 100 kilos each used in construction. In late 2009, a rejuvenation project was started to replace the old marble panels with more durable glass ones, and honestly, the building has looked amazing ever since. For the runner-up in North America, we go to Mexico for the Torre Obispado 1, also known together with a smaller neighboring tower as Torres Obispado. Situated in Monterrey, this 305-meter-tall skyscraper houses a Hilton Garden Inn, restaurants, office space, and residencies. It will not be holding the title of tallest building in Mexico for too long though, as literally right across the street, construction has begun on a new skyscraper called Torre Rise that will absolutely dwarf this one at a staggering 475 meters tall. It's still in fairly early stages of construction though and is not expected to open until at least 2026, so Torre Obispado 1 will keep its title until then. We have the One World Trade Center, also known as the Freedom Tower. At 541 meters tall, this massive skyscraper dominates the New York skyline. Its base here was quite interesting to build. In real life it's covered in glass panels that can open and close individually to create all kinds of patterns, but here I chose to do this sort of staggered pattern to at least suggest the presence of these different panels. It is, of course, the main building in the rebuilt World Trade Center complex in Lower Manhattan, as the original was destroyed in the 9/11 attacks, and it now stands for many New Yorkers as a symbol of their resilience. Its height is no coincidence either, as its 1,776 feet are a reference to the year in which the United States Declaration of Independence was signed. The building really wasn't too crazy to build here in Minecraft, as it's mostly straight or 45-degree sides that can then be copied around to form the whole structure. Just some little details here and there made it a little bit more work, but also a bit more fun, as the main thing with this building is just its sheer size. There aren't any overly complicated shapes, but it's all just absolutely huge. The top actually ended up being the most complicated part, as it houses a ton of details, from the main antenna to the walkways, FAC, and even arms for cleaning equipment. I wanted to make sure to capture every little detail, and honestly, I think it turned out really well. I noticed that the biggest portion of my views consistently comes from the US, so I hope I make you guys proud. So that wraps up the tallest buildings in every country in North America, from a tiny little office in Grenada to one of the most iconic skyscrapers in New York City. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please feel free to like and subscribe, because this definitely won't be the last of these kinds of videos. Let me know in the comments what you want to see me build next, whether it's the tallest buildings of a continent or something entirely different. I love to hear your suggestions, and of course, don't forget to check out my Patreon if you want to explore these maps for yourself. But honestly, I'm just glad you watched this video to this point, it means a lot. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.